Okay, when drawing slots, it might be a good idea to check the add dimension. Now you have two options, you know, this is end to end or center point to center point, depending on how you want to do it. Now you did notice that I had the, well, hold on here. You know, did notice I could, you know, enter like 50, but there is no dimension for the width here, so the only way to do that is to go back and change it like afterwards, for example. So of course that didn't work. Maybe you can set that beforehand, I don't know, but alright. But like I said, you know, you can go draw the slot now. I mean, I can't set it beforehand. Again, this is another stupid thing about that this program does that it shouldn't do. You know, because like I said, why does it allow me to change it then? You know, it's probably because it's a, yeah, I mean, it doesn't allow me to set the width. After the fact, it might if I see, I can set it that way, but you know, if I put dimensions on it, you know, you can't adjust the width. You got to go edit the fucking dimension. That's the only fucking way of entering the slot width. It's crazy. So, you know, you can draw the center point slot. It seems to be acting fussy with these yellow and furred dimensions. Yep, nothing I can do. Do a 3-point slot. But again, you got to go edit the dimensions to do it. And you can do this version here, which I like to draw an arc and try that again. Okay, it's the center point drawing. So this yeah, none of these actually work point. So anyway, yeah. Anyway, this one here, you know, it's actually a 3-point arc. It's just a little funny how it's working, because it's, you know, she's the start and the end point, and then the center point, and then voila. But like I said again, still have to go edit the dimensions to it to be like, say, 50, you know, 66 degrees. So anyway, it's kind of, you know, again, doesn't work the way it should work in terms of other entry methodologies. You know, and you can see there's no real smart dimension to be applied here. I mean, no keyboard entry to be applied there like you get with this. Okay, on the Fillup tool, you know, if you go click Fillup by default, this is usually checked off, but if you check it on, oh, for fuck's sake, where does it come up with this? I mean, did I have this selected or some shit? I didn't notice it was selected. But at any rate, you know, this right here, you know, is something kind of cool. You noticed before how when you select a fillet, and by the way, you only need to click the actual vertex. You don't have to select two points. You know, I could change the dimensions, you know, of all the selected ones like that, but I could, you know, select this differently, change it to 5. Okay, but again, you know, since that was not checked, you know, remember how it just has one radius and then all the rest of them have equal relations applied. But if I go in and fill it with this checked, now they each have dimensions applied to them. So even this professor guy kind of got that wrong. He didn't seem to understand the operations of command. So anyway, that's a way of doing that. Okay, now, you know, I'm not quite sure what this keep constrained corners does. You know, but at any rate, you know, selecting on the vertex, remember, you know, like I can create more than one fillet, but you can also grab the fillet and change its size that way too, by the way. But yeah, I'm not sure why sometimes though when I go into this command, damn it, you know, so I can understand if I, you know, have the thing selected, you know, but still, even when the rectangle was selected, it didn't make any difference. I don't. You know, but if I stop out, okay, nothing's selected, but you know, sometimes when I go back into it, it automatically has these corners selected. I don't know why. Another bug in the program, I'm sure. So anyway, just something to be aware of. But I was going to say, you know, when it does that, look to make sure there are no entities already selected, because that kind of tells you. You just go clear the fucking list. I wonder if there's a quick way of doing that. No. Anyway. God damn it. On the chamfer tool, you know, it's got one interesting, noteworthy invention that's having an undo button. So it's got its own personal undo button built into it, so, which is interesting. So anyway, beyond that, you know, you can have it equal distance or, you know, angle or whatever. Okay, I've set up a little demo for trim, and you know, if you have power trim on, you know, it basically does something like this. It trims everything back to the next nearest piece of geometry. So it's pretty cool, you know. And kind of like AutoCAD, but AutoCAD you can switch between power trim and power extend. Okay, and on the trim, the next one is corner. So if it'll keep what you select, which is very not uncommon. That's almost like doing a chamfer and rhino with a 0 corner radius. Now, trim to the inside. or trim to the inside, if I select like two objects like that, well, I can trim away objects on the inside that pass through it. So, but it won't affect objects on the outside. So, undo that, and then we can go check this one. This works just the opposite. So it allows you to select the objects on the outside, you know, that you want to trim back. So, you know, it won't work on that because it's not fully enclosed, I suppose. And then finally, you go to the trim to closest wheel, which works somewhat, you know, just like the power trim, but it's individual. So you can trim out individual segments to the nearest entity. So anyway, now of course with extend entities, you know, it really just works, as you can see here, it previews it, but there's no screen over here to work with. So you know, but it is an extension feature, you know, and like I said, it just extends it as much as it can, but that's pretty much it. But these things it won't do anything with because it can't extend to any kind of relevant geometry. So it's kind of limited in its usefulness. Again, AutoCAD's way better when it comes to this shit. Now, the offset entities command is, I think, a little superior to AutoCAD because, you know, so you can have it select a chain, but you know, you can choose bi-directional, but you can also, you know, choose it to cause it to cap with either lines or arcs, which is, you know, much like Rhino. You can have it add dimensions to it or not, you know. So like I said, this may even be better for cutting a slot because you've got more control over it. You know, it's based on a piece of, you know, base geometry. So if we draw something like, yeah, comes down like that. Okay, that's in line with it. Double click, and let's go to offset entities. Choose these suckers, and voila, you know, see, I got more control over it. And, you know, put it to like 5 millimeters per side or whatever. And since I can make the slot, you know, like that, which would be hard to machine, or like that, you know, that's up to me. You know, bi-directional, you know, you can reverse like you've done before and choose add dimensions, but I'm going to make it bi-directional and cap the ends with arcs. And, you know, and it did add some dimensions here, apparently. Hard to see. You know, there we go, 5 millimeters and 5 millimeters, but you know, still that's not much for dimensions compared to the slots. But anyway, okay, now let me go ahead and reverse what we just did there. And I'm going to go back into offset entities. If you click make base construction, okay, it actually turns our base construction to construction line. So that's what that means. So anyway, okay, I'm trying to draw the tangent arc here unsuccessfully. There's no way to apparently draw arcs tangent to like a circle or another arc. It's kind of fucking retarded. You know, there's no quick snap or anything I can choose to do that. It's pretty frustrating. Well, whatever. It's not important. It would suck if it were important, though. Alright. You know, like I said, this is anything but tangent. Looks like I can go try to establish a tangent relationship to it. Okay, well, hold on, let me do that here first. Okay. Alright, well, that's what it took, I suppose. It's fucking absurd. Huh. Alright, well. Interesting. God damn it. Anyway, all I did is succeed in making a slot. Fuck. Fucking god damn it. Anyway, I'm just gonna leave it like that. Fuck it. I'm done with the fucking sketch. Program fucking bevel here. That was good. Okay. Now. Alright, hold on. Okay, anyway, the reason I'm doing this is because I wanted to demonstrate something that he demonstrated that was pretty cool. This is really show you what offset entities actually does. Which that Mr. Whipple guy, or whatever the hell you want to call him, really didn't do. Let me draw a sketch there, and let's use convert entities. Now I'm going to go, let's see, select loop. Well, no, that's the wrong loop. Okay, well, that sucks. But, offset. Yeah, I can't select the loops that way. Okay, clear selection. But we'll just do it the manual way. Okay. And see how that projected that curve. Again, this is an offset plane I created, which is offset like 50 millimeters from the plane this was drawn on, which was a top plane, I believe. But, you know, you can see okay, that select loop works. But you can see how it projects, the entities to that plane. So that's exactly what's going on. That other guy never made that very clear. So anyway, yeah, and this guy just confirmed what I said. You can see the relations that are established. Because the sketch is fully defined. As you can see down here. But it's got these on-edge relationships defined. So if this geometry changes, just like he just said, the sketch will also change. Okay, now let me go to this boss extrude and edit the sketch. Oh, I'm still editing a sketch here. Hold on a minute. Okay, let me go to this boss extrude and edit the sketch. Now, I'll do a normal to it. I'm going to show you something you've already been accustomed to. which is the mirror command. We talked about it a little bit, but I wanted to make it clear to you. Okay, always select copy on this. Okay, and edge to mirror about is, done that way, right? But notice all these symmetric relationships. It produces a bunch of symmetric relationships on that line. So if I change one, it changes another. And we notice that on the slot, but it actually applies to all kinds of geometry, including lines and everything. It just automatically applies those symmetric relationships. Now when we stop out of this, go to 3D, you can see, that since we did it within that extrude command, it changed what it changed. But of course, our line thing is updated too, on this plane, so the entities we converted, so you can see that, but of course we don't have them over here, so because we just created them on these entities. In fact, this one doesn't have fillets, so okay, if you wanted to use the linear pattern, my advice is pre-select everything, and god damn it, I don't know why, man, this thing is just so inconsistent. You see, I had to select that fucking 50 times to get it to fucking work. I don't know why. Does that work? I mean, apparently it's selected, but it's not highlighting it. And now it's selected this way. Anyway, my advice is pre-select everything before you use this command. And if you hit that arrow, that reverses the direction. But if you grab this arrow, well, it's not constrained even with angle constraints or whatnot, so you can just end up randomly placing it out there and having to reset this to 0. So again, kind of fucking retarded. So of course this is another way of reversing it, obviously, but your instance count, and I guess that's the way to do that. Yeah, so that is the distance between entities. So but like I said, if you drag this arrow, it'll skew it, so forcing you to go do this, since there's no constraints to it at all. And I guess you can select instances you want to skip here, like that one and that one, so you can create kind of a pattern like that. So that's kind of a cool feature, that instance is a skip thing, but apparently you don't have any other abilities than that. Yeah, I guess about the only way, I don't know, because this thing just works such a weird way. See, it's obviously selected the entities, but you can't tell without zooming out or in. I guess it just doesn't refresh properly. Okay. You notice this applied this relationship. It's a pattern relationship is what it is. Anyway. Okay, I've got an entity here. I drew a point right there, and I'm going to copy that entity. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, God damn it. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, I'm going to copy this. Start point. And why it has a repeat option. Oh shit. Copy entities. I can enter delta x, delta y, which probably would have been preferable in this case, but I need to select it from there so I can copy it there. Anyway, let's go in and do a circular pattern. Okay, and from my start point, I'm going to choose, which is what it's asking me here, because it actually defaults to the origin usually, but I'm going to choose a start point. Like I said, pre-selected. Then let's choose a start point. Okay, and I can, increase the number of entities, as much as we like. And even deselect entities as I might choose. And you got the option to skip certain instances. I guess you got to skip them as groups, though. Unlike here, I could select the individuals. But I turn it back on, and of course we can, change it to like 180 degrees if you want, and so it's really not that eventful. It gets a little screwy when you manipulate this arrow. It's kind of hard to determine what it's really doing. I think it's just reducing that angle, but at any rate, so that gives you that. But yeah, I guess it does it as a group. So anyway, okay, I'm going to show you the stretch entities command. It's important to use a crossing window just like in old AutoCAD, but you can specify a starting point and an ending point, and it stretches the entity just like you'd expect. So even though it doesn't look like it's selected, yeah, it's selected. Oh God. Okay, so anyway, I can start, do a stretch like that. But like I said, if you hit enter, it should take you back into the last command. So, and oftentimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Again, inconsistent as hell product.